Hey guys, glasses reveal. I lost them a few months ago, but finally got them back. But I wanted to talk about today your identity or your personality in relation to who you are in the world and who you show up as. So I you hear this from more kind of like woo-woo manifestation people, and they'll say things like the world becomes what you view it as or what you act as it as. Like, for example, somebody could act extremely confident. They could maybe make music, and in their mind, they could be this pop star or whatever. They could act like this pop star, and according to these kind of people, they will slowly start to shift into these kind of things. I think it's a very fun thing to believe, but I also want to kind of go to the logical side of what we call manifestation and things like that. So, I was reading a book earlier, and somebody this person has this exact quote that hold on one second, that your personality is your personal reality, which I thought was actually really interesting, and so it kind of had me thinking. And this kind of relates to an earlier video I made called Nobody Respects You, where in your demeanor, like, people tend to treat you how you act outwardly or in accordance to your demeanor. Say, for example, if you're being unconfident in the things you're saying, like, you could be ending your sentences with things like with little statements like I guess or something, or it's whatever, or you might downplay your feelings and, like, again, end it with something like or it's whatever, or it's this, and then you might have the body posture like kind of inwards and such, and then people will begin to see you as that kind of person or treat you in that kind of way, or they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a timid person, or oh yeah, they don't deserve respect, like they don't respect themselves. And that's a cruel thing to say because, well, I don't need to justify that. That's just a cruel thing to think and say, but we as people can subconsciously pick up on these things about others. We can subconsciously pick up on whenever you don't respect yourself or how you feel about yourself, because, say again, you aren't confident in your demeanor, you aren't confident in yourself, it's gonna manifest into your physical, like, way of expression, your physical way of expressing yourself. And then these people are gonna be like, okay, this is what this person is, they're this and this. And when you learn how to act outwardly and act outwardly on the kind of person you want to be and be seen as, you actually start to shift into that person, which I think is such a fascinating thing, because I've actually I've worked on this myself, so let me think about this. Whenever I was younger, I used to be a very socially anxious person. I used to be very inward. I used to be very in my head, and it would often reflect in the way I spoke to people. I would end my sentences in words like oh, or it's whatever, or it's something, and like I kind of have postures like I was timid and anxious because I wasn't very confident in myself. And then one day I kind of just came to the realization, I'm getting a bit off of topic, but I came to the realization that whenever I saw other people in public acting the way that I was embarrassed to act, I thought nothing of it. Or whenever I saw people doing embarrassing things in public, I thought nothing of it. It was just a casual, like, sort of thing, or embarrassing anyway. Or just when I saw people doing the things I was ashamed of, I thought nothing of it. So then I thought, well, then why can't I just do these things? Why can't I just simply act like the person that I want to be? Why can't I simply just be confident or okay with acting like I'm not so shy or inward or what's the word? Insecure. Because I used to be, oh, I'm so sorry, I just got a notification. Because I used to be a very insecure person. I used to be very anxious, very socially anxious, a lot of things. And, one second. And whenever I would just start simply acting as this person that I wanted to be, that I could logically be, it was as easy as that, and I became that person to other people. And now I have my friends, they'll talk to each other and be like, I don't understand how she's just so effortlessly confident. She's just this, she's just this. And in reality, it takes becoming and acting like that person you want to be, and then it outwardly start first, and then your mentality follows, and you become that person. So let me take an example from Atomic Habits. I've tried so hard to read the book several times, but I've only gotten a few pages or chapters in. But in the book specifically, it talks about dropping a negative habit. And whenever it talks about doing so, let me use smoking, for example. When you're trying to drop the habit, you might go cold turkey or something, or you might stop, or somebody offers to give you a cig, and you say, like, no, I'm trying to quit. Opposed to saying, no, I'm not a smoker. Because whenever you frame your identity along these things that you want to do, that's when you become the thing. Alright, I'm gonna kind of just sloppily throw this in the video, but I first mentioned the person we are tends to be the filter in which we view the entire world with. So say, for example, you are a liar, or somebody who kind of schemes to get their way or manipulates. You're going to see everybody else in the world as that kind of person, or you're going to see the world as a bad place where people lie and cheat and steal, do all these things. And so if we're so incorporated into this identity of ours, we're going to start seeing the world in that like scheme. We're going to start seeing the world in those colors. And so whenever we start seeing ourselves a specific way that we want to, we're suddenly going to see all of the opportunities in relation to that identity. We're suddenly going to see all of the things related to the identity we want to create, all these opportunities, all these chances. And it's not even about manifestation or bringing that in magically. It's about the fact that we see the world through a filter of what we are. And whenever we start collecting these things, these identities, and putting these things into our identity, that's what we're going to start seeing in the world. And then we're going to start becoming that thing more thoroughly. We're going to start seeing more chances to become that thing. We're going to start just pulling in a bunch of things. But it's more likely just we're going to notice all the things that we didn't before. And that is how we so efficiently become this person that we want to be, just by changing how we view ourselves. Just by changing how we view ourselves and our identity. And again, it's not even that there has to be some sort of woo-woo manifestation. It's literally down to the fact that we are subjective creatures. Again, we see the world in accordance to what we are, what we think we are. And it's as simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. We see ourselves as these things. We start attaching these identities of ourselves to ourselves, and we're going to see it all over the world. And it's just going to be like jumping into a pool of more of that and just becoming so, like, what is the word? Just so enveloped in it. And so clearly that thing we want to be, until it's just so ingrained in you that it's something that can't be separated from you, and you just have that forever. It's just a part of you now, realistically. And I just wanted to add that real quick because I forgot to original video, so this is going to be kind of like thrown in there. But yeah, even if you don't believe in manifestation, it's literally the filter in which we see the world, our identity, and we attach that to ourselves. You know what I mean, you see what I mean. But, you know, whenever I started calling myself an avid reader, you know, for a long time I used to procrastinate reading. I used to just put it off. I really want to do it, but I put it off because I really loved it when I was younger. But then I started labeling myself as an avid reader, and I attached it to my identity, and then slowly I became one. Like, it's such a fascinating thing how these manifestation people are really onto something whenever they say, like, act as if it's part of your identity, act as if you have it, and then it will come to you. And this is such a fascinating thing amongst other things. So I've put this into practice so many times. Again, I used to be very anxious, very inward, and then one day I was like, you know, actually I want to be a confident person. I want to be able to be these things. And then I just told myself the logic, you know, it's not logical being anxious. It's not logical having anxiety, social anxiety. These things aren't logical. And then I would just simply act as if they weren't an issue for me. I would walk with confidence, I would talk with confidence, I'd say whatever, and I wouldn't be embarrassed. And people around me label me as a confident person now. People around me say I'm social, I'm all these things, I'm blah, 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 which is really fascinating to me. Sorry, I had to pause real quick. But back to the quote I read in a book earlier about your personality being your personal reality. You can, wow, there's so many thoughts coming to my head at once to even talk about this. This is such like a wide thing to speak on. But we can act as if we are something and become that thing. And no, it's not, if you don't believe in manifestation, if you don't believe in quantum physics, all that stuff, it's not even so much as it's gonna magically come to you. It's more like whenever you fit into that little standard, whenever you fit into that personality of the thing you want to become, then your mind's suddenly going to start going into these patterns and seeing and noticing all of these things that are in alignment with it. It's going to be like, well, I'm this thing, so now I'm going to start doing this, or it's going to slowly change your actions and your thoughts throughout the day until you actually become said thing. Because you can't keep telling yourself you're one thing. You can't keep thinking about it. You can't revolve your mind around it and not inevitably become that thing unless you, of course, give up, you know? And so I have tested this thoroughly throughout my life, and never once when I've like avidly told myself I am something have I not become that thing or not believed that thing about me. And it can also come down to personality traits. You can be like, let me think of an example. There's confident. You can want to be confident. You could want to be more relaxed or nonchalant, or whatever it may be. You can tell yourself these things and start thinking these ways and telling yourself you are this person, and eventually you will believe it. And once you believe it, you start to act like it. You know, I have done this over and over again. Trust me. I used to, back in high school, I used to have a list of affirmations, and I would repeat them to myself as if I were those things at least like 3 times an hour, like every single hour. And it was grueling. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It was like a task, but then like I eventually began to enjoy it. And then I noticed I actually became those things. And mind you, these were like personality wise. And it started reflecting back in rumors I would hear about myself in school. They'd be like, oh, she's this, she's this, she's this. And then my friends would be like, today when you were absent, like, these people were talking about you and calling you all these things, and they were word for word the things I would tell myself I was. Because whenever I did that, I would believe it about myself, and then I would outwardly act like those things. And that is possible for quite literally anybody. I know people relate affirmations to being like woo-woo and manifestation and like BS kind of thing, but they work. Whether you believe in that or not, they work. Whenever you believe things about yourself, you don't understand. You literally start acting like these things, and your mind starts going to these opportunities like a magnet. And say you weren't telling yourself you're these things. Say you didn't educate yourself on this thing you wanted to be, whether it's a career path or whatever it may be, and you got the opportunity before you were telling yourself you're these things. What would you do with that? You wouldn't know what to do. But say you've been telling yourself you're these things, you've been like thinking about it often, you've been researching it, you've been getting into it, suddenly the opportunity comes your way, or you reach out and try to get an opportunity, or something just comes your way. You will know how to handle that, and you will be perfectly equipped to be able to get that. And it's so insane to me how people will just pass it off and accept their reality as it is, instead of going after the kind of identity they want to have. Like, you could be on your deathbed and be like, shoot, I really did not like the kind of person I was in this life. I wish I was this, I wish I was this, I wish I was so many things. But you didn't go after that. And in reality, one of the most efficient solutions to strive to becoming the things you want, whether it be personality-wise, whether it be career-wise, whether it be so many things, is to just start with telling yourself you are these things. And even if you like start off telling yourself these things and you're like, oh, I don't believe it, I can't possibly ever believe it, just start by telling yourself, well, instead of I am this, start by saying I can be this, or telling yourself I'm open to being this, or I will open my mind to being this. And then slowly over time you can shift to telling yourself I am these things, I am that avid reader, I am a good person, I am a singer, I am all of these things, I am a productive person. And then you become them. And it's all about little steps, because sometimes we're in such a pit of denial and we're so far away from like the person we want to be that we don't think we can make it. We don't think we can be that. And it's like, in a lot of cases, you can't really make that giant leap. You have to start with like the tiny steps and telling yourself, I can be this thing, I can be this person, I can be all these things. And then start telling yourself, now I am these things. And you start identifying with them, and you relate them to your identity. You incorporate them into your personality and into who you're becoming. And then you watch as, wow, you're suddenly all these things, and you believe it, and people around you believe it, and people around you are affirming it without even you having to tell them you want this. You won't even tell them. And then they'll affirm those words, those personality traits you want, right back to you. And trust me, I've seen it happen in front of my own eyes. I've changed my personality entirely. I used to be super incredibly socially anxious. I used to be unconfident in myself. I used to be so many things. And now I'm literally talking to a camera and people are telling me things like, how are you so capable of speaking in front of a camera the way you are? And I didn't even realize I was. I used to think I was bad at it. But then people are like, where do you get the skill from? And I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to be a confident person. I wanted to be not anxious. I used logic and I changed my identity and I identified with these things. And over time, I became them. And you can become anything you want. Personality wise, career wise, you can. You don't see top models or you don't see leading neuroscientist researchers saying, oh yeah, I told myself I couldn't do it and then one day I was suddenly it. No, that's like literally not how it works. You have to be open to the idea and willing to believe that you can become these things, first of all, and that you can change into this, you can incorporate it into your personality, or you're never gonna get anywhere. Like, nobody on earth ever told themselves, I'm not the kind of person who can do this thing every single day and genuinely believed it and then got to become that thing. You have to change your personality. You have to change who you are. You have to change your identity to become all of these things you want. Also, guys, I swear my bangs aren't greasy. They just lay on my glasses a bit weird. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Also, I want to say my birthday is coming up in 3 days, so I do want to do a birthday stream. It's on the 8th, but I'm pretty busy that day because it's my birthday. So I'm going to be doing it on the 7th. So that'll probably be later in the day, Eastern Standard Time, maybe like from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around that time, Eastern Standard. If you guys want to join and talk, I'll probably do a Q&A, probably just talk to you guys and have a nice time because I genuinely love live streaming. But that should be it. If you guys have experience changing your identity and changing who you are in relation to your identity and just everything about yourself, just things about yourself, or relate to the video at all, I would love it if you shared your experience because I'm still also looking for methods in this and I'm still also looking for wisdom in this. And I would just love to hear it. I love to hear your experience, love to hear just what you have to share in your wisdom. Anyway, though, guys, peace.